So we are about to begin the session Artificial Intelligence in Internal Audit, and there's a parallel session on the next room. And I'd request everyone out there, please don't risk your session for the sake of a coffee, because you'll miss a lot of things. With this, I would invite the speaker, C. Anand Jangid sir, to the dais, and I'd request Tarun Gupta Bhaiya, Vice President ACI, to introduce the speaker. Thank you.
I will request everyone to please settle down, and invitees who are interested in the parallel session which is going in the hall adjacent to this hall can also join that session. So this session will be by CA Anand Jangid sir. Please give a big round of applause. Sir has been a very regular speaker on all our programs at ACAE, and we have been following sir on the social media. His profile is over here, and sir, I went through your LinkedIn profile, and some important things that came to my notice. Sir has more than 16,000 followers on LinkedIn. I think that calls for a big round of applause. 16,000 people are following sir on LinkedIn. Sir talks about #new thinking. Sir, we would like to hear more on this #new thinking. Putting AI in IA function, artificial intelligence in internal audit. If sir, I am correct on these two terms. Sir also speaks about purple people. Sir, what is that? I don't know. Sir, purple people.
Yeah.
He talks about audit, finance, technology, risk management. And one important thing that came to my notice is that sir is from a school called the Holy Child. And I am sure that the school has been named after him, because he is a holy child.
No, sir, no.
He is such a holy child that, you know, by the appearance, you will feel that sir is always smiling.
No.
And we always look forward to hearing to you. And with these words, I will now request our past president, Santosh Rungta ji, sir, to please come up on the dais and offer a bouquet and a small token of appreciation, a memento.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, thank you, sir.
I think you gave me one of our
Yes, sir. I had. So that's a lot of pressure on me whenever. Thank you, sir.
With these words, I now hand it over to sir. Sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thanks a lot for doing such a great research on me, sir. Okay. So, as sir rightly said, purple people, I think one of the main objective of making all of you purple people, this is actually a term given by Deloitte. It's a very nice term. Deloitte has invented this term, so we give it to them. It's about people who are crossbreeds. They are like finance and tech together. So that's the kind of term you use it for purple people, and that's the starting point. Okay. So, okay, just 1 second. I think we have the thing. Okay. I also want an audio connection for this one. I have some AV to play. Yeah. Is there? It's connected. Okay, cool. Thanks. So, a very good morning, everyone, and great to see you on a weekend. In a good company. Rishabh is here, so I'm more, you know, I have been knowing him from a long time, and I see his videos and all things, very nice stuff. So today's topic, I have tried to divide it into two parts, okay? And I was telling, you know, this thing that to Vivek also, that when I come to Kolkata and Chennai, these are two places, I'm always very tensed. Because this is like erudite, you know, audience, the kind of questions they can come and all thing, and I have to be very prepared. And the second thing, I'm also very nervous, and I was changing, or I was updating my slide, was because I come to ACE like once in a year or twice in a year. So I don't want to repeat my slides, anything, because then you will say, "Arey, same cheez ghuma raha hai, bar, same news is there. Let's try to keep something updated." So that's the reason I was updating my slide. I was sitting in the back, and I was just thinking, what is the message we should be giving today? Though the topic says putting AI in IA, I would like to break it down into 4 parts. I think we have around 1 hour plus time for us. And I would like to keep it interactive also, guys. Because, see, it's always very easy to give gyan. Huh? It's like, oh, yeah, this happens. But can I just assume here in this session, how many of you professionals are in practice? So, you know, I just get a kind of feel of that practice, okay? And how many of you are in employment? So I can mix it up. Okay, employment also. Oh, great. So we have a good mixed cloud. So I'll talk about from 2 perspectives here, and feel free to interrupt me about any of the point at any time. The first perspective I'll talk about, if you are an internal audit professionals, you are actually making a career in risk and other areas, what are the things you should be knowing about that? What are the areas which are emerging right now and which are like going to dominate? Point number 1. Point number 2, if you are a professional who is practicing, and I know a lot of professionals who are practicing but still giving this, you know, IFC, risk management and other kind of services to the client, what are the tools and technologies which are going to be big time? Do you all agree to one thing, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that consulting is always a bigger pie in anything than assurance services? Do you agree to this? Yes? You know, someone doing IFC and someone giving the, making the all RACM and other thing, that part is going to be a longer time duration and all that thing. So let's try to take it with a pinch of salt, some of the things which will going to come our way and understand that. In the meantime, you know, I told it's great, you know, when I was being introduced, they asked about the term purple people. See, one of the biggest challenge, and I'm assuming that all of you are professional from one line of areas, like we have some ISACA professionals also. So either you are going to be someone who's only in IS risk management, or you are a financial guy or finance domain. Time has come where we need to move to what we call it as something very important, a crossbreed or a purple people. You have to not have just one set of skill. You should understand the multiple area. And this is not me who is saying it, and I'm not quoting that today, but in many of my presentation at ACE, I have been talking about one thing called the Future of Job report by World Economic Forum. How many of you have read this report? Vivek has read. Oh my God, apart from Vivek, no one else. Like, okay, so how many of you here are below the age of 40? मतलब पैसा नहीं कमाना क्या? आप लोग like how do you keep updated कि future में क्या होने वाला है, किस area में sunrise sector क्या है? Have you ever thought of those kind of work? A little bit of Hindi is fine, right? Yeah, I'll not try to do this in Chennai, but Kolkata में चलता है, ठीक है? So, no one has read this book? Okay, that's something amazing, amazing. Okay, so like I'm just little loss of word, but actually I'll tell you to go back today. Go to the site of World Economic Forum, wef.org, and download this report. If you have not downloaded, I would request you to download first the 2020 version and then 2023 version, because there has been a lot of change in 3 years. 2020 version for the first time gave a very big heart attack to all chartered accountant. Anyone knows why? Because in that version, they said that accountants and auditors are the top 10 jobs going away in future. So I also got a heart attack. Are Baba. And you know how media is, right? Okay. Have you seen media reports, how they be? So I would suggest you stop reading newspapers, especially Times of India. I'm sorry to say that. I hope they're not sponsoring any of this thing right here. But if you are reading these newspapers, like I'll give you one incident. It happened with me. I was working at Infosys, if you see from then. In 2014, one unfortunate incident happened. The unfortunate incident was one HR manager, in a fit of anger, you know, he got angry, some fight happened at home. He killed his wife with a kitchen knife. Unfortunate incident, someone killed his wife with a kitchen knife. Next day, Times of India, second page. This font size. Infi techie brutally kills his wife. First of all, what has Infosys has to do with that? Second, he's a HR manager, not a techie. And he kills his wife. The perception created is like every Infosys guy is killing his wife. My wife stopped talking to me for a few days, like as of chance hai ki kuch ho jayega. the point is that this is the perception created. Now this report came, and I actually got through this report in a media. AI is going to take over accountants' job. Auditors are not more required. But no one read the whole report. And I have read the 163 pages of the 220 report. And I would actually tell you why I read it. There's also a reason for that. I always say that. The reason was very simple. I'm a first generation chartered accountant. And I'm wishing a lot of you will be first generation chartered accountant here. Yes, no? Yeah, so first generation chartered accountant, what is the sign of a first generation chartered accountant? So what is the sign that, okay, he's a first generation chartered accountant? How do you find out? मतलब कुछ batch रहता है कहीं पे? So it is like you become CA by trial and error. Okay. So trial and error means I also became CA by trial and error. It is something like, you know, like clear foundation first attempt, 6 attempt fail in inter, then final first attempt cleared. That kind of person. And by, you know, final you reach, you have like gone to all temples. Like I have climbed Tirupati so many times. Climbed, you know, ऐसा नहीं, गाड़ी में नहीं गया, पैदल जाके गया हूँ. So many times and saved my head so many times that my hairs have not come back from that time, okay? So that is the chance of that. And you will do anything to become a CA. Like at that point you are desperate, you know? So what happened was someone came and said, you know why you are not passing the examination? I said, why? He said, in the examination you were sitting under the beam. ये building का beam होता है ना? And वास्तु प्रकार, मतलब वास्तु के हिसाब से, if you are sitting under the beam, पूरा बिल्डिंग का वेट आपके सर पे होता है, तो you can't think. So I was searching for beam in my next examination hall, you know, all that kind of thing. But also there is one more sign of first generation chartered accountant, which I know it happens in Kolkata a lot. Every first generation chartered accountant want their kids to do CA. Hey, Anand, we want to do, whether they do it or not, it's a different thing. It's their secret desire. A simple reason, why should only you suffer? As simple as that, right? Yeah, because it's a simple thing, right? Why should you only suffer? Because have you seen teenagers? How many of you have teenager kids and not home? Okay, you know how teenagers fly? Like they fly too high. So to bring them down, CA is the best course. So, so I have a daughter who is in 12th, and I said, okay, Baba, you have to do CA. You're already flying too high. You know, they said, oh, I will go to US. I said, first do CA, then do whatever you want to do. Pehle CA kar lo, fir dekhenge. So all that things came down. So now, but I'm a responsible father also, so I have to read this thing. So I read the 163 pages, and what I understand from the whole report is a very fundamental thing. And that is something which I want to share with you, and you should go back and read the 163. Just don't go by the hype of headlines and all things. The thing which says is, I don't know how many of you have seen this movie called Catch Me If You Can. You have seen this movie, Catch Me If You Can? In there, they show that Pan Am flights, you know, till 1980s, if you have a plane, you would have at least 5 crew members or 5 pilots in the plane. Why? There will be 2 pilots, 1 navigator, 2 engineers. This used to be the standard SOP. But today, how many people are there in a plane? Any idea? 2 people. In fact, 1 can fly. The other guy is only a backup. And in fact, that guy also doesn't fly, autopilot. Now, don't you think where we required earlier 5 people, today you have 1 person. But this guy is more knowledgeable than all these 5 guys or not? He has to know how to use the tools, he needs to know everything. Now that is the exact message I would like you to know. The future is about upskilling. The future is that are you ready to update yourself with that thing? Are you ready to become a purple person? It's not that jobs are going away. That's a bullshit thing. If anyone says your jobs are going away, there's more requirement for people. But tell me one thing, if you have to remember the time 2000, I became a CA in 2003. In 2003, I remember one of my senior, I did from a small and medium firm, and my senior got a placement in PwC, okay? And he got a placement for 22,000 rupees per month. And we had a party, because 22,000 was big thing, because this guy was a rock star in Excel. We thought he got hired because of his Excel knowledge. And that is how we actually got into this IT field that, oh, this is going to be something which is there. Now the point is, if we have to talk, in fact, I was making the slide, I first was the future of employment, but then I said, no, it's not a future anymore. It's actually happening right now. Now, it's on us whether we are using it or not. I would like to talk about many things, especially from the perspective of something which we also call it as some of the use cases which are there. Because Venu is in the other session, and Venu is a good friend. We were discussing what is the best thing, which message we can give it to you. The thought process is very clear. It's easier to show you something and say, ye ho raha, that is doesn't make. We'll show you something and also I'll tell you how you can do that. Because ultimately, this is not rocket science. Rocket science is always very tough. You know that we know ISRO scientists and other things, they do something which is not easy to do. Sending a rocket in the space is not easy stuff. Mangalyaan is not easy. But what we can do is actually easier. I would say easier than GST for sure, 100%. Okay? And that is something which is going to be the agenda of that. So we'll actually start with a little bit about the AI part which is moving. And there are multiple perspectives on AI. You know, it's like everyone has their own perspective on AI. So let's try to see this one perspective or two perspectives from a finance professional or an audit professional or an IS professional, whatever you want to see that. Let's see the same thing. We'll also talk about a little bit of the back part. You know, like today, we had one of the speakers talking, data is the new oil. We know all these things. But tell me one thing, crude oil is of more value or a refined oil has more value? Refined oil. Don't you think you want to become a refinery for the oil? As people, like I come from Infi, you should go and check out the data science team of Infosys. Like any guesses, like I don't know about other IT companies, but I know about Infosys, I'm sharing it up. Any guesses how many CAs are there in Infosys? Chartered accountant. How many CAs do they hire? Any guess? 1,000? 1,200? 1,500? कितना होगा? 4,000-5,000? 5,000 bus. Sir, I have the number because I left Infosys in 2015 and we have a CP circle inside Infosys. And I don't have the number now. That time our strength was 1 lakh employees. Today we have a strength of 2.some lakh employees. It's already like 7-8 years they have extrapolated very high. And we had, when we had 1 lakh employee, we had a team or like number of CAs in Infosys, all functions together, were 4,850. Now 4,850, are they cooking the books of account? For Infosys, what are they doing? 4,850. Our finance and audit department, if you have friends in that, you can ask them, has only 180 people. Like finance and audit and all the 180 people. So what is this rest of the 4,500 plus people are doing? Any guesses? There are people in Finacle, a lot of them. Raja Maya, who is the head of the product development for Finacle, is a chartered accountant. But you will see a lot of people in consulting like SAP, FICO, blah, 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 Oracle, blah, blah, blah. But you will see a very interesting thing. 90% people in the data science team of Infosys are chartered accountant. Now the problem or question I have for you, don't you think it's a mismatch? Chartered accountant hates ISKA. You remember that subject? Chartered accountant had the IT subject and they are taking into IT company and asking them to do something. Why? That's my question to you. Ever? Huh? Sir, logical understanding to MBA wale acha karte na. MBA finance bhi there, but 90% are CS. 10% MBA finance are also there. I teach at IIM Bangalore. Don't you think their quantitative things are much better? The CAT and other thing, they have also logical thinking. Why do they think so many CAs there too? Commercial sense, yeah? No, sir. वो तो bonded laborship था, sir. But I agree with you partially for a little different thing. I will not say articleship, but एक बात सोचिए. In articleship, don't you think a company will open up everything about them to you? You know everything what's happening in that company. They will not tell it to the tax authorities or the thing, but as an article you came to know. That's the fundamental of our profession, which I always say. We have an essay which says knowledge of the business. Don't you think they hire CAs not because of your technical skill? Technical skill can be taught to every Tom, Dick and Harry. 90%, I'm sorry, any engineer in the house? Okay. Don't take it otherwise, sir. Mechanical or what? Huh? Computer science. Okay. Any other engineer who's like mechanical? Okay, which one? IT. Sir, लेकिन एक बात बताओ, आपके जितने भी दोस्त हैं, both of you, most of the engineers will be like doing civils and mechanical and electronics and other things, and then doing coding or not? They do the coding or not? Please tell me, because most of my friends in Infosys were engineers. I asked, what are you doing? I am mechanical. Mechanical एक बंदा तो बोला मैं civil किया हूँ, मैं अपना घर बनाऊंगा तभी उसको use करूंगा knowledge जो भी लिया है. मतलब, but he's actually doing coding. He's writing codes out there. So the point is that don't you think it can be taught? You guys are here. That is not a big deal. But the big deal is and I'm sure it is told to, when I was in, like I'm a ISACA member also, in ISACA also, if you have been talking about IT governance and all the things, we talk about business comes first. IT is always a supporting out there. Now, knowledge of the business is something which is a great asset which we have. Are we using it? That's the question. So, there's a very interesting statement. In fact, I really like this statement a lot and I just put it up. There are two statements I would change which I keep in my mind all the time. One is by John F. Kennedy, who says, change is like law of life. Everyone looks at the past and the present. But can we see the future? See, don't you know this term called first mover advantage? People who are going to be there. And I am telling you this with all the things on my, under my belt. I'll just tell you one thing. I was just 3 weeks back actually, I was in IIPM, which is Indian Institute of Petroleum Management. It is actually in Gurgaon, IOC's training ground. 40 acres of big, large campus, and they bring the best of their people there for training. If you go inside, there is a mural at the reception, because you stay inside the campus only. And the mural said one very powerful statement for a Fortune 500 company. IOC is a Fortune 500 company. And the mural says, change ... before you are forced to change. Now imagine the proactiveness which is being shown here. All of us will change, whether we like it or not. But are you ready to be a proactive changer or someone who is forced to change it out there? Now, that's we have been talking about. I hope all of you have heard about this industrial revolution talks going around us. And we had already, we are in the 4th industrial revolution we have been talking about. So what was the first, second, third? Anyone has remembered that? Because I'll tell you something, history teaches us a lot of things. Huh? I think I'm a big student of history because history always repeats itself. And if you ignore history, we are going to be in a mode which is not going to be a right thing. And when I say history, we should understand what has changed in the past. In the past, I come from Bangalore and we have a very interesting thing. I don't know if you know, in the 1980s and 85, when computers first came into vogue, there was a big protest in Kerala. You know what was that? Kolkata also. Oh, great. So Kerala, there was a protest, if this happened, what will happen to the typewriters? Today, typewriters are something which can be kept very well in a museum. We have come a long way. But what is changing around us is a lot of information. And let me tell you one thing, I would, I don't want to talk about it because I want to move on to the use cases, but I would request you, if you go back today home, again, I'm telling you, there is one very nice book called The 4th Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab, which is from World Economic Forum. I would suggest you to download that book or buy that book. If you like, it's a nice book. On Kindle, it is like, I think 120 rupees bucks, but if you buy it as some 499, it's a nice book. I would highly recommend you to buy that book. The reason is very simple, very simple, I'm telling you. So the 4th Industrial Revolution, you'll find it is called Klaus Schwab, but in his foreword, this gentleman has written one very interesting thing which I like. He said, this is not a culmination of one person's ideas. It is actually the culmination of all the people in one of the committee they had called Future Committee in World Economic Forum, who have come across and told about. And just to tell you, like, आप में से कितने लोगों ने नहीं सुना, industrial revolution के बारे में? No, I can just explain it in 1 or 2 minutes. नहीं सुना कितने? सबने सुना है? Everyone, right? Okay, cool. So 4th industrial revolution का सबसे powerful thing क्या है? Anyone? What is the most important thing in the 4th industrial revolution? Internet? No. Internet is one of the part, but not the most powerful. It is like subsidy. Yes. No, IoT is also actually called as this, it's a supporting thing. It's there, but not main. Huh? Not AI. AI is also part of that. Like IoT, AI, all of this are part of it. There's one very powerful statement they make. किसी ने याद होगा, सोचिए थोड़ा सा. It's not AI. मैं आपको अभी बता रहा हूँ. सोचिए. Or you want to ask ChatGPT? I know, it's something. But okay, the most powerful thing which they say, and I'm quoting the book directly, it's CPS, Cyber Physical System. And that is like the most interesting thing per se which is there. And have you heard about, there is a very interesting concept. When I say CPS, CPS is nothing but, let me give you 2 examples to support my thing. Have you seen a car like Tesla? Is Tesla a car or a computer? Come on, think. Huh? Computer or a car? Huh? Sir, car with computer तो मेरा भी Nexon है, उसमें भी एक computer है छोटा सा. Is that the reason? Nexon का तो मैं इतना value नहीं देता मैं. I drive a Nexon. It's a nice car. It also has Harman music system. Which one? My car also has intelligence. So MP, what is that called? Multi-point fuel injection. मैंने पूरा उसका पूरा पढ़ा था कि खरीदने से पहले. Huh? Car with a brain. हाँ, brain is different than intelligence. Do you agree to that point or not? ठीक है. अब एक थोड़ा सोचते हैं. अगर आप सिर्फ वो इलेक्ट्रिक पावर्ड कार साइड में रख देते हो, रिमूव द कंप्यूटर पार्ट, would anyone give that $126,000 for that car or whatever is the price? I'm not very sure. Models, different models. Would anyone pay for that much of? So don't you think the car, it's actually not a car. If you have the car, like I remember, so last time, anytime you go to Dubai, at the airport on Uber, you have now option. You can also call Tesla, right ma'am? You tried it? Huh? Huh? In the airport it was there, right? So it is like only 20 AED more, 20 AED more. So I was staying there and Town Plaza and I said, chalo aaj 20 AED dete hain, baithenge. So I pressed that thing and a Tesla came. So I next said, the guy who was driving was a Bangladeshi, okay? So I started, like my broken Bangla, whatever is there, I started talking to him and I said, boss, auto mein lagao na. Like put it in the auto mode, right? Let it be going. He said, if I do that, I will be fired. So I said, Baba, I paid 20 AED extra. I want to see that feeling, the first time. Like US, it's very different kind of thing. I want to see it in Dubai. Like all Indian drivers, we'll see how our Indian drivers and this will do. But he didn't try to put it up there. So I was feeling very dejected. But the same thing, you need to understand that the way it has, the auto drive modes and all things where it basically works itself, those kind of things make it different and make it that expensive. That's the reason there is a brand called Tesla, and that's why it has a valuation. I was told the market capitalization is more than Toyota. I was shocked to know that. I don't know about the right now, the present thing, but I was told that Tesla's market capitalization is more than Toyota. And they have like 2 factories, one in China, one in US, and Toyota has like full over the world, but they are still getting a low valuation. Don't you think this is a kind of a example of cyber physical system? But most interesting, did you see it is a crossbreed concept? Right? I'll give you another example. So how many of you put Alexa at your home? No one? Oh, Alexa at home? Amazing. Have you enabled Bangla support or Hindi support in that? Hindi support. Amazing. Then you should try it. I'm sure you know about this also. I was not aware of that. So what happened is, like, I have this Alexa at home and I put it, like, my mother will be using it. My mother is 73-year-old. So her pronunciations are little, blubbery and all the thing. So when we set it up, a Hindi support came. I put the Hindi support and said, Mom, you can say it. So my mom will say, Alexa, Vishnu Sahasranama bajao. And it will start playing it up. Like a beautiful thing, right? But because the voice is, modulation is not very clear, many times Alexa will say, मैं नहीं समझी आपने क्या बोला. So, and it will say 2-3 times. One day my mother initially got, angry with that, and my mother said, Alexa, tu mar ja. And what came back was the most interesting thing. It says, Are shubh shubh bolo. I was shocked. It's a machine. My mom said to me when I came back in the evening, he said, Aaj aisa hua. Wow, this is great. And we tried it again. and see, the point is that every time it doesn't give the same answer. You can try it out. Well, आप multi-time पूछेंगे तो कुछ अलग-अलग बोलेगी and all that kind of thing. But the beauty is, it's a very instant thing, like a human kind of thing. Like it's, repeating it up. It's a cyber physical system because your Alexa is different than my Alexa. It's you train it up the way, the kind of question you ask. It's actually a memory which is being worked it out. It's not just the speaker you are paying the money for. You're paying the money for the services and everything which is there. Now, this is the cyber physical system which you need to understand. And that is the most important thing in the 4th industrial revolution. You will see a lot of things which are going to change. Digital marketing. We never has the word digital marketing, right? But the fundamental is if all your people are in the digital workplace, you have to have it up. I am very inspired by one of the Disney movie. I don't know how many of you have seen that, Wall-E. Wall-E करके एक movie आया था, yeah, one person, only one person or two person, three, that's all. You should go, it's a 1999 movie, okay? And in that, whatever they are showing is something which is like coming and hitting us. And the recent movie which I would like, okay, I'm telling a lot about movies, but they're like inspirations for us. Future is something which you can understand better when we try to talk about. So this is the fourth industrial revolution which we are talking about. And let's talk about the genesis of AI. This took me some time to search some papers. And all these papers, what you're seeing, are not new papers. And let me tell you one thing. जो भी आप देख रहे हैं आज के टाइम में, pattern recognition, this and all that kind of stuff, these people, there are research papers on this, more than 57 years old, 67-year-old, 58-year-old. So it's like for last 50 years, this knowledge base was there. But why we couldn't do this? This was only in like, you know, academic circle and all the thing people were saying, हाँ, ऐसा कर सकते हैं. Why couldn't commit? Anyone? Any idea? Ecosystem was not there, great, sir. Computers were there that time also, na sir? हाँ, the computers, okay. उसके अलावा दो बहुत important चीज है. Sir का एक ecosystem तो I will take it up very well. The whole ecosystem is needed. But most important thing which was not there at that time, which is now, huh? Mindset, नहीं mindset तो था, sir data नहीं था उतना. You didn't have so much of data. Like, how many of you remember those days we used to have this Konica Kodak camera, 35 pictures, ting, ting, ting. We all have done it. And used to keep count. अरे इतना ही हुआ है, दो और है, करके फिर लेके जाए. Like, we have done it. We are so careful about the pictures we are going to take it also, right? Yeah? Today, like from morning to now, how many, you know, pictures you have taken of the slides and other things? We just take. It's also 2 MB of data. You should actually, like last time I was attending, there is something which is very interesting called Google I/O conference. I/O is like, it's like you can take it a binary, 1, 0, or you can say input, output, whatever way. It's called Google I/O conference. You can actually see all on YouTube, all the old videos of that. If you get a chance, listen to the last talk by Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt was the past chairman of Google. And he gave a very interesting statement. And he was saying the power of data. That talk goes by that. And I really love that talk because the numbers they throw, because Google search the internet. They have the access to the whole information at their fingertips. They were saying, and Eric Schmidt's statement, not mine, he said the amount of data humans created from the dawn of the civilization is like painting the walls, which we started to 2010, that same amount of data we are generating every 2 days. Can you imagine that kind of numbers which we are talking about? Every 2 days. This is like Google's ex-chairman telling you this one. This amount of data when it comes, it's actually a interesting thing. It's a problem statement also, it's a solution also. First, you are doing what we call it as, you are trying to do crowdsourcing. See, if I have to do something, I divide it upon all of you, and you do something for me and come back to me. Don't you think it makes my life easier? Let's say I'm actually writing a book right now on putting AI in IA. So I have already written 3 chapters. So it's all totally 7 chapters, 4 more chapters to go. Now, if I give you 1 chapters to all of you, write it up the first cut and give it to me, don't you think it will make my life easier? I'll give you an outline and all that kind of thing, but it will make my life easier also. Crowdsourcing. When there is so much of data, it also allows you to do a lot of crowdsourcing, which was not there. And all these things are impacting finance. See, whether you are in audit, internal audit, or finance, the core difference which happen in finance impact us. If the business changes, you will change. Like, I'll give you one very interesting example. Just last Thursday, I was called, like we do a lot of work for Audit Builder Group, and there was like, they said, I wanted to do some SAP control testing, something is to be done for a new subsidiary of us. And you can check out the name of the subsidiary, it's very interesting name. The name is Tomorrow's Brand. Okay, check this company out. I went to their office and I have, like, my first job was Aditya Birla Group. So Kamak Street, that's the place I was actually posted. It's a fun to thing. Industry House, sir knows that. And Industry House over Solar Store, New TIG and all the things. But best thing about Kamak Street is, you know what? Tiwari Samosa. That's the best thing. Everything else is bakwas, okay? So that's the kind of thing which we used to be loving that. But what happened, I was posted at Madura Garment. You go to Madura Garment, which is Ajit Vela Fashion Retail, you'll see clothes everywhere, you know, merchandising happening here, this and all things. This is a company, the name is Tomorrow Brand. You can check it out on their website. What they do is a very interesting business model. The business model is totally changed. They don't do any production of any clothes. They are only the brand managers. They will take some brands, outsource it to someone to make the clothes, sell it directly from this guy to Myntra.com and all of the things. People will buy the clothes. They just don't do anything. You go to their office in Umiya Business Park in Bangalore. On 8th floor, they have a beautiful office. The office doesn't look like a office of a clothes company at all. It looks more like a CA office. Because it's a startup kind of mode. But they have taken it over. Now it's Aditya Birla Group company. So the point which I'm trying to tell you is, it's very, very interesting. The business is changing. And if business changes, the finance changes. Everything around that changes. We have more integrated systems. We have more cross-functional collaboration. You know, we all heard in audit, right? One of the very interesting terms. If I get information from two sources, internal source and external sources, which one I'm going to trust more? External. It's a fundamental thing we have been all told about. Now think of that. You have a data-driven business decision making. It is not more that what my data is saying. I try to see holistically everything which is happening externally and try to come out with that. And what is the most interesting thing here, guys, is there is now a new culture coming. They said, in God we trust, for everything else, bring the data. Your supporting for every decision making should be the data which is underlying there. And there is happening. And technology-based thing. So when sir was telling me about one of the things that introducing me, he said, I have 16,000 followers. I'll tell you a secret out there. So I have some followers, yes, they are always come and do it, but I keep connecting to new people. You know, areas of interest are, like I have defined it up in LinkedIn, finance, audit, AI, data analytics. This is the 4 words which is there. And what are the new kind of people you should do? And I got a list of more than 16,000 people. Tell me one thing, is it physically possible to send invite to each of them? No? So I use technology there also. You have RPA tools, which will just automate the whole process. They'll just send you. And you have to be careful with LinkedIn now. So the moment they see RPA tools, they will block your account. So you have to make sure that it's a random request going every 12 to 40 hours back. It's not like one shot all the mail go. So automate that so that even LinkedIn is confused. कि एक बार तो सिर्फ 2 आदमी का रिक्वेस्ट भेजा, फिर बाद में 20 का भेजा, फिर भेजा ही नहीं 15 तक. You just make it up that way so that I don't have to remember those things. Let the machine takes care of all the mundane tasks, right? Now that's a thing, so which is there. But last one is my favorite, and I would like to spend 2 minutes on this one. Vivek sir, you will be my timekeeper, sir. When, just give me 15 minutes, जब बचे तो मेरे को बता दीजिएगा, sir. Vivek sir is my good friend. So that's why I'll trust him. I don't trust anyone else. Okay, I'm just joking. So now coming to this culture of experimentation. This is very important, guys. How many of you have seen one very interesting article? I think it was in Jan 2022 review. Like it's a 3 months thing. HBR, Harvard Business. You can actually check one article by average age of companies on Fortune 500 list. What is the average age of a company on Fortune 500 list if you remove the energy companies? Energy companies are like Shell, IOCs and all things. वो लंबा रहेगा, उनका आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. You can't touch them. But other, if you do it, what is the average age? Anyone? 30 years? 35? 10 to 15 years? Anyone else? So I'm using, okay, let me try to choose. You know the difference between average and median, right? I'm asking about the average. this is a very interesting thing. Sir was close? No, sir. Oh, you're checking it up and telling. Sir, cheating है, ये तो cheating है, sir, देखो. Less than 18 years, actually. 18 साल का age होता है. Now, think of this word. To reach the top, I still remember when Infosys became a $1 billion company, we all got a nice watch from Titan. It was given us to demonstrate with that. We also got $2,500 in our account. पार्टी उटी किया, Infosys ने बहुत कुछ मस्ती किया, उसके अंदर हाँ अब चलो 1 billion हो गया. Now from there to 10 billion, no parties. 10 billion to 15 billion, no parties. Okay, बस वो एक 1 billion because that's a landmark. Now you need to understand, reaching on the top is comparatively easy than staying on the top. You agree to that point? Our profession has always come on the top. We are there. But to stay relevant, to stay updated, it's very important for us to stay on the top. And if you read this whole article by the professor, it's a very interesting thing he says. He said, organizations which have stayed more than the average time, they had always, and he focused it on, culture of experimentation. Like for example, have you ever done it something like that? And I know some companies in India also do it right now. Very big companies into automobile and other things, they have something called as controlled risk taking. They will do 10 projects a year, which they know कि अगर ये fail हुआ तो कोई बात नहीं, होगा fail. But they will learn from that failure. They will do that. Are we ready to say 5% of your organization time or your effort which you are putting, I will put on experimental thing. It may come, give me a very good return or may not do it up. But that mindset is very important. I always meet a lot of CAs and CFOs and all things. बोलते हाँ हाँ करना है, but और किसी ने किया है क्या? तो फिर पता चलता नहीं किया. तो बार छोड़ो ना, फिर risk है ना, क्या पता होगा नहीं होगा. But the point is that if you do it, don't you think it will be the first mover advantage getting it up there? And tell me one thing, you are taking a controlled risk. You are not like blowing up the full budget of that, but you are just taking, let's say, 20 lakh rupees, I'll just use it up for that thing. But the idea is, are we ready to do that? But this is something which is going to make it up difference because people want, everyone, like, you know, there is a very interesting statement, right? Have you heard the statement from one of the boxer? I can check it up on Google who said that. It's a boxer from US. He said, everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die for it. That's a very interesting thing, right? We all want to go to heaven, but to die, if for example, I'm just giving you all these things, you have to go back, read and all the things. Like as CA, we have one very interesting syndrome. You know that syndrome, right? CA student syndrome? No? So there's something called CA student syndrome, and I'm sure all of you have done it. अब जब CA की पढ़ाई कर रहे थे, तो everyone will take every notes of every faculty, और उसको photocopy करके हम रखेंगे, पढ़ेंगे नहीं कभी, लेकिन photocopy होना चाहिए हमारे पास. जब तक photocopy नहीं मिलेगी, मन को शांति नहीं है. Once you get it, you will just throw it in somewhere, but you know back of mind, I have that. Don't do that. We have to die for it. It's not easy. It's going to be there. Now, these are all the things which are driving it up, and that's the theme of today, Utkarsh. It's a great word, actually. I really like it. I will actually focus on the AI part of the thing, okay? Because I can't talk on all the things right now. Now, this slide is a very interesting slide. It's actually, I want to give you this for practitioner. Any one of you who are interested after this, that I'll go back home and I'll try it out. मेरा एक request है, I'll anyways give this slide to Niti ma'am and she will have it. You can just download it up and use it. Try all these technologies which are open source. I'm a very stingy guy. Like I don't give, you know, anything, donations and all things. But I give 2 donations every year to 2 charities. One is Akshay Patra. The reason is I have audited them and I know they really feed kids. That is, so I know that my money is not going for a waste. Second is Linux Foundation. How many of you know about Linux Foundation? 1, 2, 3 people, great. My suggestion is go to the Linux Foundation sites. See some of the Linux Foundation conferences. There are so many open source tools. There are so many men and women are working really hard to bring some of the best of the technology for us as open source. And you know, I will tell you, I still remember when I was in Infi, we had one product from a company called SAS. Heard about this company SAS? They make data analytics products and all things. It was for an insurance company in Mumbai, and we implemented that solution for that company, insurance company. I'll not name it because NDA was signed that time, but you can just guess which company. And this company had more of what we call it as, thing in terms of areas and other things. Like they have a lot of understanding in these areas. That solution costed that company around 5 CR. It's a big cost. But you see all this technology which is here, if you try to rebuild it up with that today, it would be hardly I'm telling you, you can actually get the same thing replaced and done at a fraction of around 20-25 lakhs. I know some other person, yesterday only someone in Kolkata only, a good friend of mine, a CA, who called me up. They are doing some same solution for an insurance company ever bidding, and the kind of solution which has been made, it's actually just cost you that much. Now, don't you think that's the kind of power of this open source? If you are having your Aadhaar, where is your Aadhaar database? You like your picture in Aadhaar? No one likes their picture in Aadhaar. If you are checking your picture in Aadhaar, that whole thing is on MongoDB. This MongoDB is a database, and you can go check it out. MongoDB is an open source database, which means one of the most critical infrastructure which government of India is creating is on open source. So you can understand all these things happening. Now we are moving from the way which was descriptive to cognitive analytics, and this is very important for us to understand this slide, because 1 and 2, this part is we have been doing it for ages. But what AI is helping us to move up the value chain, add more value in predictive, prescriptive, and cognitive analytics. And I'll talk about that one in a little while. How does that things do? How does this things make it happen? And that is something which is very interesting. So this picture, I hope all of you have seen this picture somewhere or sometime. No? No one? या क्या देखा सर? ये पिक्चर निकालने में, सर्च करने में इंटरनेट में मेरे को आधा घंटा लगा. कहाँ मिला बताइए? Sorry? Very good. Round of applause for sir. एकदम सही फैन है एकदम. टर्मिनेटर मूवी का स्काईनेट का यूजर इंटरफेस है. So Elon Musk ने एक स्टेटमेंट दिया था कि he thinks only 5 years away from the thing, but he is himself working on lot of AI and other things. Okay. Now it's no longer science fiction. Okay. When I say no longer science fiction, we have actually thought of that time when you will speak something and it will remember the Star Wars series and all thing. We had been using NLP and all that kind of thing, where you will speak something, it is actually transcribed easily, translated into other languages and all that kind of thing. Now it is there. I remember in 2004 we were trying to struggle with something called as, I don't know how many of you heard about this Dragon naturally speaking softwares and all that kind of thing. And we used to struggle with that. Today you take it for granted, all these things. Or you see in finance, where I come from, Goldman Sachs, we used to have a term called quants. Quants with the mathematicians who used to actually work on that. From there, we are moving on to the data scientist work. All these things, if you have to understand, it's a big area. AI is not just one area which I want to tell you about. It's very important for us to understand. It is not one scheme of things. It's actually a kind of culmination of many things. It covers machine learning, neural network, natural language processing, robotics. And when I say robotics and all thing, it may be actual robotics, or it can be a kind of a bot in your machine, or a code also. But we have been seeing this whole areas where natural language processing, what we are using to kind of ChatGPT based LLM models and all that kind of stuff. Now all these things, friends, are giving a multiple thing. They are dealing with a huge amount of data. And when they deal with this huge amount of data, what happens is, it is also doing something else which humans cannot do, which is the thinking process in a kind of a real-time environment. Now I'll give you an example. If I talk about machine learning, it was not possible maybe 10 years back only. Today we do a lot of machine learning in small cases of finance and audit, which was never ever feasible in earlier time. The reason was you had all this other things which were not coming it up. It's a complementary kind of thing. Each ecosystem competes with others, but they also complement each other. Like, how many of you use Google Lens? That's also an AI. It's a more of a, vision via AI. You are seeing the pictures and you're just translating it up there. All these things lead to this very fundamental change, and I would like to leave you with this term which all of you should go back and try. I learned this in a SAP recent TechEd which happened in Bangalore, and the keynote speaker gave a very interesting word. You know what is the new word they have actually brought out, and you should go back and check it out. It's called citizen developers. What do you mean by citizen developer? It means in this room, every one of us sitting, all of you are developers. There are no more specific developers which are there. SAP kind of company which has got ABAP and other languages and all things, they are saying everyone can code. And the whole concept lies in what you see, the ML and AI approach which is there. They launched their one LLM kind of mode where you can actually ask. I was playing with that, it was very fun. So they are changing the way. You can't have to now get a report. You can just, it's like a future. They are releasing it in Q3 of 2024. You can just say, what is my cumulative sales from this region? And it will calculate and tell it to you. You can just ask that question kind of thing. So all the things is from traditional thing where remember the time when we have been, how many, 5 minutes more, right? So how many, remember the time when we used to do this coding, programming? Anyone has done programming, school? You remember, basic, so you have gone to this room, remove your chappal and taken a shower and then gone inside? No? Without shower you went inside? But do you ever thought, I still think why our schools used to ask to remove that shoes and chappal, huh? Any idea? डस्ट क्या अभी डस्ट नहीं है क्या उस टाइम भी डस्ट पता नहीं मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा होता था एयर कंडीशन रूम रहेगा एक कंप्यूटर पे 3 लोग ऐसे धक्का मुक्की करके बैठेंगे हम लोग दैट वाज द टाइम एनीवे एन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग इफ यू रिमेंबर माय लाइक आई हैड कंप्यूटर साइंस इन क्लास 12 and when they used to teach us they used to say think logically what should be step 1 step 2 step 3 step 4 step 5 from there we have moved to a new level like how many of you play with macro I'm sure Kolkata so you're like all macro experts see yeah, all the hands going up you play with macro and when you record a macro who writes the code sir system excel macro कितने सालों से है बहुत सालों से है आई थिंक मैं तो 2000 से मैं देख रहा हूँ 2002 से तक आई नो उससे पहले भी होगा तो मुझे पता नहीं मैक्रोस इज यूजेस अ कॉन्सेप्ट कॉल्ड केस कंप्यूटर एडेड सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग इज कॉल्ड केस सो यू डू द रिकॉर्डिंग कंप्यूटर विल राइट द कोड ऑन द बैक एंड यस और नो यस आप अभी भी जाके देख सकते हैं वीवी में कोड लिख के देगा ये कोड आपको आएगा टेल मी वन थिंग व्हेन कंप्यूटर कैन राइट अ कोड ऑफ व्हाटएवर यू आर रिकॉर्डिंग can't it read the data in multi-dimension and tell that, okay, this is my understanding of the data? Can it do it or not? Yes. That technology was there. It has already become very, very advanced, and that is what we are using. In machine learning, we are just giving the data. As auditors and finance professionals, we are always plagued with data. And this data, when we are uploading, the machine also will see, okay, these are the 3-4 dimensions which I can see it and take it forward. So I will just see from a rule-based approach where I say A plus B should be equal to C, I'm seeing a pattern. I'll give you an example of this pattern very quickly, and very interesting example. One of our clients is a conglomerate. So they are into many things. They do, they move movie making also, they do manufacturing also, they do everything. Now, they have a position across the group which is called VP. Let's say there is a VP from Bangalore goes to Mumbai and this VP is in charge of manufacturing. उसका एक रात का होटल का हो गया 8-10 हज़ार रुपये और खाना पीना मिला के 20 हज़ार. He would actually one day trip to Mumbai and back with all the flights and everything may maximum be 35,000, 40,000 bucks. Can I agree with you? And then you see another VP of the same company who's going there and spending 2 lakh rupees in one day. Now, as an auditor, if I'm a rule-based, I will see that or not. कि अरे इसका इतना कैसे? मतलब rule SOPs are followed, blah blah blah. But then you realize, oh, this guy is actually meeting one of the film star, and he spent 50,000 rupees on a bottle of wine which was gifted to that guy. Don't you think that is like taken for granted in that film industry and all that kind of stuff? So you can't just go by judging rule-based thing. We are going to see the pattern. Like you've seen this kind of things in Amazon. People who bought this also bought this. This is called association rule. It is associating it up. So you associate with people, this is the kind of trend this guy is doing. Only you will try to give the exception when you see something very different out there, otherwise not. And this is a slide which is the ML model. I'll leave it to you because I don't have much time right now. But see this 3 model, supervised, unsupervised, and semi or reinforced learning, whatever you want to say that. The world is changing where you can actually tell the machine, hey, you know what, take this thing and try to analyze this. I'll actually show you one example in the last very quickly and then we'll do. But ultimately you can use it as ML model for different kind of thing. And you know what is the most interesting thing? Even this has become open source. Let me show you. How many of you have gone to a site called h2o.ai? 2o.ai. Oh, it's coming. Can I? Okay, I'll just. Yeah, sorry, duplicate. My internet is there. Sorry. In fact, they have a GPT of their own also. I would highly recommend you to go to the site. They have even earlier what we used to actually get it up as, you know, thing. You have open source tools to basically do anything you want to do it up there. And h2o.ai is now available for all of us. I'm just telling you, why don't you use it up? Try to go and explore it up. It's a very interesting area. So this kind of things are there whether we like it or not. There's actually kind of a complete part which works it up. And if you see this workflow, machine learning, it's very simple workflow. You start from the building up, understanding the knowledge. You see everywhere, data and business knowledge is the most important thing. Your understanding of the data. We see a lot of time this term, have you heard this term called false positive? So we develop a model and they says, "Arey, isme to false positive aa raha hai." The reason is we have not understand the data. I'll just give you one quick example, the closing part, and then we should do. We did a model to find out which product should go to which, which material code should be given to which vendor based on the past performance. You know, I am actually vendor selection process. So I am putting it to the machine to do the vendor selection process, not me. So I want to see that isko nahi deke isko kyo diya. We have this code, right? L1, quality, blah, blah, blah. You put all these parameters and all things. We made a very interesting thing. We got a lot of claps from the client, very good, and they implemented it up. Implement ho gaya. Now we are consultants, so we are very greedy. So we took the same concept to other client. देखो ये वाला same concept है. We will put it up in your SAP system, and this model will actually tell you which vendor you should be giving which material code. You know, in SAP we have material code and all the thing masters, everything is there. So we gave it to them. There our model failed. You know why? Reason is this client have a concept of SOB. How many of you know this concept of share of business concept? Share of business is I will not give the complete project to or complete procurement from one guy. Always have two. So L1 or L2 go L1 ke rate pe laake we will do it up there. Now don't you think my whole model has to go change? So the business knowledge is the most important thing. And once you understand that, you see the data, same data from N perspective and take it forward. And that is exactly what we have. And the final thing which we all should know is this is the relationship which you can have it up. You can use AI as either an automator, either a decider, third a recommender, or an illuminator. And also there is one more which is called evaluator. 5 things. I'm sorry, it's not coming at some reason. So these are the 5 things which we can actually play into that. And if you have to do that, these are the most important steps which I can actually think of for you to do that. And this is here, I want to focus only on one line. Can you see the last line here which is there? A lot of people don't understand what AI is and what AI means. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, I am just telling you. Go back to fundamentals. See, even in accounting, a person who doesn't know debit what comes in, credit what goes out, however smart he may be, कहीं ना कहीं गलती करेगा. Fundamentals are important. Same thing here. Fundamentals are important. So, guys, I don't have now time. Sample use cases. I'll share it up. All of the thing. Okay. This is Sir, can I take 2 minutes or 1 minute? 1 minute, sir. Last, sir. बोला बस हो गया. This is the thing. Okay, last thing. This is what you should know. That there are a lot of challenges also there. People just put AI just like that. It is not good. Not everything you can put AI out there. You should know the use case creation, and only then we should go for it up. So friends, this is what is the message for today. Everyone is thinking about AI. We talk about that and all thing, but this is the very interesting survey by MIT Sloan and all thing, who said 90% of the CEO believes digital economy is going to change it up. So इसमें कुछ करना है. But how many are doing it? Less than 15% are doing something. The only thing we have, our ACA logo is or thing is worship. You have to do it up. And there, nothing can stop us apart from having what we call it as a very interesting term I learned from Malcolm Gladwell book, Outlier, 10,000 hour rules. All of you heard of those 10,000 hours? Perfect. That's a very important outliers concept which I want to do that. Okay? Yes, sir. Questions? We have time or we can take it? Okay. Sir.
I have one question that you said about the H2O.
AI, yes, sir.
Is there any issue of the trademark or copyright? Whatever content they are using for the client purpose or whatever.
Perfect.
Is there any trademark or copyright issues?
So, very good question. Now, I'll give you the answer in 2 ways, sir. Like, there are something called as a GPL license, General Public Use License. When you are using open source tools, most of them are GPL, like General Public Use License. My suggestion is you should see it very carefully. Like, I have only problem if you try to white label it. White label it मतलब आप उसके ऊपर अपना name लगा के किसी को दोगे तो there is an issue. Otherwise, it is all, you can use it up, there is no. And even confidentiality, like for example, can you put a very confidential document on your ChatGPT document website? It will be a problem, right? ChatGPT is learning it up. But if you have H2.ai on a server in your office, you can actually upload a document and ask it कि इसमें इस document में कोई problem है या नहीं. You can actually figure it
So
out.
to sum up what we message we have got actually in this case, whatever contents are coming from there, we can make some edit or amendment there
Yes.
and then put our name and send across, right, sir?
That is there, but you have
Yes.
to also careful, sir. There is something called as AI hallucination. How many of you heard this term? It's a big hallucination is a big issue. By be careful. मतलब AI भी है ना सपने देखता है. मतलब there is a word like दारू पी के कुछ भी बोल देता है. So वो AI does that also. So you have to be careful. That's my only thing. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for the thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. In the meantime, I call Vivek for to offer a formal vote of thanks. We have 2 small quiz in the interest. So by the time we'll set up, sir, if you can provide your laptop by the time. So on a lighter note, what was the first job sir had done? If somebody can mention the name of the company. No, Infosys was not the. He said in Kolkata. नहीं सर ऐसा आप कैसे बोल रहे हैं सर गलत आंसर बताइए पूरा नाम नहीं आया सर आपको नहीं मिलेगा आप तो गलत बोल दिया आपको तो नहीं मिलना चाहिए सर आइए सर प्लीज भैया प्लीज सुशील भैया एंड वन मोर क्वेश्चन इज दैट सिटीजन डेवलपर सर ने कुछ मेंशन किया था सिटीजन डेवलपर के बारे में अगर कोई बता पाए
Friends, give a big round of applause for Anand ji. I have known him for 10 years and rightly said that in last 10 years, he has never repeated anything what he speaks. Means every time he's new and he's always, best part. When we were talking to him and finalizing him to come to ACA, morning 9 o'clock, Sanjeev ji and I were there and we said, Anand ji, you have to come to Calcutta. He said, ACA is calling, I will be there. So that's the acceptance for ACA with Anand ji. And when we say about credibility, one of my friend was there from Bangalore. He came to Calcutta for some official work. We were talking. He said, Vivek, give me someone for data analytics and some good person who can work on it. I said, in Bangalore, you have Anand Jangid. Well, we met him a week back only. Means he's so well known in Bangalore or throughout India for that matter, actively working with DAB and always there for ACA. That's the passion for his work. Give a big thunderous applause for Anandji because what he says and what he delivers. And he's a real faculty from IIM because he gives lots of homework. He tells you read this book, that book. He has given n numbers of books. He has given n numbers of websites. He has told about n numbers of movies. And the way he deliberates and the content he delivers in the given time, that's really astonishing. And from blue people to future of jobs. And one more book I would like to add, The Future of Profession. A great book you should all read because it will teach what he told also, that out of 5 pilots, 1 pilot will be there who will be better learned, and we are not there as a CA, or we are not competing only with chartered accountants, we are competing with IT technologies or engineers or software engineers also, and we have to become a data refiners. Great, thank you Anandji from behalf of ACA, and give another thunderous applause for him, please. Thank you everyone.